Like right now, we're now live on YouTube. Praise you.
Praise
Praise
God.
God.
For the record of this recording, of this world that's being governed in this world, it's governing this world right now. The Gregorian calendar. Today is known as Friday. Friday. We're on the east coast of the United States of America, North America. The clocks on the east coast are governed by Eastern Standard Time. And right now, we're looking at about 5 minutes to 1 o'clock in the p.m. in the United States East Coast in Florida. The largest city south in Florida is called Miami. On the 21st day of July, 2023, according to that calendar. This is for the sake of this recording, of this revelation and a secret. Today we reveal its secrets. I have been revealing plenty of secrets the past 2 months, but they have not been recorded on social media. If you want to learn and hear some more of our secrets, then you must come to where I am today in Miami of Florida. In the meantime, as we were saying a moment ago, we are now looking at the 21st day of July, July 21st, 2020, this calendar. And it's now about 4 minutes now to 1 o'clock p.m., 1300 at 1 o'clock would be 1300 military time. So that's more like 1254, 1253 now of military. That's for those who are watching who's going to be in the military, whatever branch, United States military, whatever world, nation of worlds, governments that you are a military soldier, then that's what time you're looking at now of this video recording. Now, according to our calendar, which is celestial, governed by the sun, solar, celestial, we're now looking at the 13th day of the fifth month, and that's on the same coast, East Coast, United States. However, in the Middle East, where we come from originally, they're now looking at the 14th day of the fifth month of our solar year from the beginning of Genesis chapter 4, verse 7, 6026. That's our solar year. That's his world successfully without immorality, without lying or being wicked. And so far, after 6,026 years, Cain nor his father, Halel, Lucifer, was able to do that. That means their world is coming to an end. This world is coming to an end. And I'm here today to officially make that announcement to those who do not know. And you can look at the natural phenomena and disasters that are happening on this entire planet. And those signs will show you and let you know that this world is coming to an end. My presence here today is another sign that this world is coming to an end. And I will, in a few moments, introduce myself to those who do not know. As I also will make it official to who I am for those who do know. For those who pretend to know, after the day, all your pretense in front of those who you did not want to know, they will also know. And that includes every clergy and theologian on this planet today, including all government officials of all de facto governments on this planet, and especially the United States of America, the 194 nations of the United Nations and NATO, and all your leaders, you will know today, if you have any doubt of who I am. Speaking of who I am, I'm the very same one who prophesied 3 years ago on the very same social media's website, where upon my request, had began to push this planet closer to the sun on its own axis as it was spinning in its own orbit, closer and closer until we reached that 6 miles closer to the sun. That means no longer 93 million miles away, but 92.94 million miles away from the sun. And I also prophesied at that time, 3 years ago, that it was going to be the hottest that ever was recorded on record of what these countries and this planet will experience this day and forthcoming. The hottest on record. And if you do not believe that, then you have a serious problem. But you could also travel to California, to a place that they call the desert, Death Valley. And the thermometers in Death Valley reached a high level of 130 degrees Fahrenheit and beyond, more. The Atlantic Ocean on this coast of the United States, the East Coast, have a water temperature, they say, of at least between 84 and 93 degrees in the ocean. That means a lot of animals, fish that dwell and are living in the ocean is going to soon surface. It'll be like boiled fish. Boiled fish. Those fish can only stand and take so much temperature of their body heat, even with the scales on their bodies. You only take so much until it kills them. I'm also the very same one who prophesied in the year 2015 of this calendar that there's going to come a day when everyone on this planet, every single soul, every nose and mouth on this planet is going to be required to wear a mask to cover their nose and their mouth. And that was 2015 when I made that announcement. Today, they have classified that period and beyond. Since 2019, later, they classified that as COVID-19. I'm also the very same soul on this social media who came on 2010 on post and made an announcement to this entire planet that the day is coming that one who is known as Donald John Trump Sr. will become president of the United States of America. I have witnesses, and you can check my timeline, and you can see that for yourself. Back in 2010, I made that announcement. I'm the same one. I'm going to explain more to you in a few moments, more to you, who I am also the same one of. In just a few moments. But first, let me encourage you to grab something to write with so you can follow this revelation I'm about to reveal and these secrets. Some are not so secret. But take notes. It's a matter of life or death, of what I'm about to reveal. It's a matter of life or death. That's empowered by one word of the English's idiom that has become biblical. That's known as believe. Believe. B-E-L-I-E-V-E. Believe in English. From left to right, believe. B-E-L-I-E-V-E. Believe. It has become, that's English, but it also became scriptural, theological biblical, prophetical, as believeth. Believeth with the TH after the E. The TH after the E from left to right, but the TH with the E on the right side of the H to become the. The. Believeth or believe in the. Believe in the. So grab something to write with. If you haven't written that yet, I'm waiting for you to catch up. And while you're grabbing articles to put in front of you to take notes, that means note tablets and some paper. I would also like for you to grab your Bible. The most preferred is the King James Version. Grab your King James Version Holy Bible. If you don't have one, then a Gideon is an excellent replica of the King James Version, both published by Nashville Publishing Company, Thomas Nelson Publisher Company in Nashville, Tennessee. Also grab your Strong Concordance if you have one. Your James Strong's Exhaustive Concordance of the Bible, King James Version. If you do not have one, and as you can see in back of me, we have a giant screen. They call it Smart TV by LG. Living good, life is good. That we'll share with you so you can follow along with us and keep up with us. What we're about to reveal. So grab those articles. Those who are scholars, who call yourself scholars, you should grab your study tools. What I'm about to testify to you of again, is absolutely and total truth. It's all true. It is all true. TRUE. It's all true. I will not lie to you. It is not in my soul. Neither was I created, and it was placed in my soul to deceive you or to lie to you. We gave that assignment to the devil and Satan. We gave that assignment and that nature to Satan, the great dragon, the devil, and all of the angels. They are the ones who are deceiving you. And they began from the beginning. They began deceiving you from the beginning, from Cain, as liars, and Hillel as a deceiver, also known as Lucifer, also known as the great dragon, also known as Satan. They have been lying to you from the beginning. They are of their father, the devil, and the lusts of their father they will do. For they were murderers and liars from the beginning, and abode not in the truth. But when he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own. For he is a liar and the father of it. That's in my soul, to remind you of that. In English, I spoke the same words before, over 2,024 years ago in Hebrew, as I sat with my disciples in the Middle East. With that said, let me introduce to you as I now begin to reveal this secret, this mystery. And this is especially for those who have been deceived by the devils. So you must follow along with me and pay very close attention to what I'm saying. You must hear with your mind what I'm about to say. I repeat, you must hear with your mind. With your mind, what I'm about to say out of my mouth, my voice. Now, some are prophesied to hear my voice. And when you hear my particular voice, and if you were dead, then you should rise by hearing my voice. My voice was put in this body, given to me by my Father. And I'm going to say that in English. But you must hear what I'm saying in the English video. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you those to whom it pertains to, and those who were around my Father in English. I'm going to get to the Hebrew in a moment. How you were deceived into believing way back in 2009, 2008, 2009, how you were deceived by the devils. You were also deceived by my Father. But you must hear what I'm saying. You were deceived by my Father, my Father. Now I'm going to show you a photo image of my Father, so you'll know how you have been deceived, for those to whom it pertains to, that began around the year 2000 and conspiracy 2008, 2009, 2010. So I'm going to ask my monitor, who has control of the remote control of the smart TV, go to Google. You should see a address box up to the top already of the screen. And I'm praying that those who have joined us, they can see the monitor. Go to Google. I believe it's going to be maybe the first search box. Yeah, it's Facebook. Go to Facebook. That's my Father. That is a photo image of my Father. Oh. I don't know why you're laughing. This is not a laughing matter. I'm telling you the truth. That is a photo image of my Father. And I told you must hear what I'm saying with your mind. And it's the first thing I'm going to straighten out for those who've been deceived. I repeat, that is a photo image on Facebook of my Father. And I asked you earlier to grab something to write with. I want you to write down what I'm about to spell for you. And I'm looking at those who are with me right here in Miami, Florida, in the same suburb in Miami, Florida that my father came to. My father came here in 1979. Same city, same suburb. It's called Brownsville, right here in Miami. My father did. My father came here in 1979. Are you hearing what I'm saying with my voice? Are you hearing with your mind? I repeat, my father came here in 1979. This very same suburb that's called Brownsville in Miami of the state called Florida. There are 11 cities in this country, 11 states that has a city or a village or a town that's called Miami. But this is the city where my father came to in 1979. Now that you have gotten that in your system, in your mind, I'm going to now ask you to spell from left to right in English who that is on the screen. That is my Father. Here's how you spell it. F, from left to right now, F-A-R-T-H-E-R. You got it? F-A-R-T-H-E-R. That is my Father. You have it? Okay. Now, it being that this word I just spelled for you, who are listening and can hear what I'm saying with your mind, it does not exist in Hebrew. So that means he is not my Hebrew father. He was created by the Greeks. Father. He's not my father. He's my Father. Created by the Greeks. Father. Do you have how you spell it? How you pronounce that? What I just gave you to spell? Father. That's who I said he is. He is my Father. Now, if you were listening and didn't hear what I said, you may have thought something else. I didn't say anything about a father. And that's how you've been deceived by your slave master, your European slave master, by trying to keep up with their idiom that they created, even in Creole, English Creole. And that's why I'm encouraging all of my angels and disciples to come out of her, my people, and leave her idiom alone. That way you won't be confused. I am not the author of confusion, and neither was my father, and is my father the author of confusion, but of peace. Now that you have that, go to another screen. I believe you have the Strong Concordance already up. You should have a blank screen of the Strong Concordance. Go to that and type in what you have on your paper that I spelled for you, and so you can see who he is and how many times it appears in the King James Version Bible, and by who. You have it? Father. Click on that and let's see who he is to me. You have it? You should have one time. The only time Father appears in the King James Version Holy Bible, 1611 Authorized Edition, that was first published by Jacob, the first king of England, whose name was Jacob, in the 17th century. And I click on that because it has something next to it. What does it have next to it?
Side.
Father's side. He's on my father's side, not my mother's side. He's on my father's side. And click on that and let's get the meaning in Greek. It should be something like G4008. I'm not looking at it. I've already studied it. Is it G4008?
Yeah.
I'm not looking. My back is to it. I'm not even looking at the monitor. And what is the meaning of that Greek word? Click on it so you can click on the speaker so you can hear how the robot pronounces that Greek word. Should be nice and loud already.
Strong's G 4008. Peran.
See, he's a parent. He's his own parent. He has no mother, no father. He's a robot. He's a parent. And he is my father. He's my parent. And what's the meaning of parent in Greek?
Beyond.
He's far beyond me. He is far, far beyond who I am of. In fact, he's on the other side. He's opposite of who I am. He is opposite of my father. He's opposite of my father. What else? What else? It probably has no etymology. Even it don't even have an etymology. That means he's not even etymological. He's of his own self.
It also means to pierce through.
To pierce through.
Across, beyond.
He is the one I'm going to pierce through with my sword. Double-edged, my two-edged sword. That is who he is to me. I just have to do that. I'm revealing secrets. Now that is no longer a secret. That is my father, my pera. The Greek boy. Go back to this page and look down, scroll down. You'll see he even gives his daughters a Mrs. Look on the right side, someplace over here. You should say, "Welcome, my daughter," or "My Mrs. Yahweh." He have a Mrs. Yahweh. Congratulations, Mrs. Yahweh. European, because that's their father.
Red hair.
With red hair, right? Just like Esau. I speak the truth. I just have to set that straight. See, there's a secret that I'm revealing today. So no one will ever come up to me again and ask me who he is to me. And no one would ever associate me with him ever again. If you do, you are just insane, ludicrous, stupid, foolish, and ignorant. And I'll say that in your face if you were in my face. Now go back, come out of that page, but stay on that particular search box and go back to, you're going to go back to Google. Just click the arrow, go back. You're going to stay on that same screen, but you're going to go back because it should take you back to Facebook or Google. Okay. Now click on the other image that you see, and you'll see my father. And click on any one of those so you can see who my father is. And I want you to spell this in English. Get a nice photo. Pick any one. You may have to scroll down. You don't have to go to, I don't want a Facebook photo, but yeah, any one of those that you see. Okay, scroll down. Okay, that's one. That's my father. In English, that's my father. Now let's spell that one for you. Father. Spell that one. Father. Father. With your English speaking self. You got it? Father. You got it? That's my father. In English. Now go back to your Strong Concordance and type in Father, Father, so we can see who he is to me in Hebrew. And let's see if it takes you to GH1, Ab. Father. It took you to what? Lodi?
H1.
H1. Right? Strong's H1. The number one. And click on that and see if it says Alibeth.
Yeah, Alibeth.
What?
Father.
Father. Father. So with that now explained and revealed to some, reminded of others, or to others. You know who I'm speaking of in Hebrew. That man. Go back to the photo image. I'm speaking of that man. Father, my Ab. Why when you hear me say my Ab? Okay. I'm speaking of him. He is world renowned today, still is. In the English idiom, as I quote, Yahweh. And he don't have a Mrs. Yahweh. There is no Mrs. Yahweh under his standard. Especially a white red-headed woman. Okay. He also is known by an appellation by others as Ben Yahweh, Yahweh Ben Yahweh, which means God, Yahweh, and Ben Yahweh, the Son of God. Now, he cannot be both, and that's another secret. He cannot be both. He can be one or the other. He's either God or he's the Son of God. But what he did was he used that penmanship. He used that signature while he wrote books. That's his signature. In Hebrew, from right to left, it's Yod Het Wav He. Beth Nusofe, Yod Het Wav He. Interpreted into English as Yahweh Ben Yahweh, and it means again, God the Father and the Son of God the Father. which means that when he wrote books such as this one, this is just one of several. When he wrote books, he wrote not only of himself and for himself, but he also wrote for his son and of his son. And that's why that will explain why it reads Yod Wav He. Yod Wav He. Bethon Sophie Yod Wav He. He wrote for his son. He also wrote for himself. And the appellation is known throughout the entire world in English again as Yahweh ben Yahweh, end quote. Yahweh ben Yahweh. You just looked at your strong concordance, those who have their own, or we shared ours with you on our monitor. And you saw H1. H is for Hebrew. And we went to Greek a moment ago. You saw G4008. Okay. G represents Greek. The G is Greek, the H is Hebrew. And that's H1. That means he's one. One God. One. The mighty God, according to Isaiah chapter 9, verse 6. One. In fact, in this book, on page 18 that he wrote, copyright 1993, and here in the front of the book, as he placed in all of his books in the front, you see a photo image of himself, black and white. Photo image. And to the bottom, just want to read that. I'm being told to do so. You can't hear him speaking to me, but I'm sharing with you as I speak what he's saying to me for me to speak. I'm not speaking of myself. I'm not speaking of myself. Whatever I hear him say to me, that's what I'm speaking. And I'm also going to show you things to come. I just did. I just explained that a moment ago when we came on doing the benediction from 2008. I showed you things to come. Even before Donald Trump knew he wanted to be president. And even before you realized what a mask was going to be used for and how hot it was going to get, I showed you and told you things to come. So I'm going to read the bottom of this photo image of what my put here. See, is Olive Beth, A.B. In a moment, we're going to go to a video that he recorded way back in 1986. It was recorded in his temple, in our temple, in his office. And you're going to hear him mention A.B. That's the part of the secret today. Olive Beth, Father, A.B. That's A and B together, both. Yahweh ben Yahweh, both. Beth, Olive Beth, Alpha, Beta. And you'll also find that in Ezekiel chapter 34, verse 11, both. We'll go there in a moment. But to the bottom of this photo image, I'm going to quote, and I'm going to make sure I get it. I have to put on my flame of fire. My flames of fire is also purple. And it reads, as I quote, in italicized. It's italicized for a reason. Italian, as a calf. Calf-like people. I'm here for the calf-like people. That's why he put it italicized. So you wouldn't know that because you're dead. You're sleeping. It wasn't for you anyway. It's cryptic. It's crypto. It was meant for me to explain and reveal. That way you know it's me. As I quote, Shalom Aleichem, period. I am the Grand Master of the Celestial Lodge, comma, architect of the universe, comma, I repeat, architect of the universe. Now, what you have to do, and what you should do, is study the word architect. Once you perfect that and become a scholar and erudite with the word architect, then your next task is to study universe. And when you put those two studies together, they realize that an architect is a designer who designs and creates before he builds. And when you study the universe and find out there's cosmos and other universes and galaxies in the universe, and the planets and everything in it and around it, universe, then you know what he's telling you and who that is. Architect of the universe. And that includes all the UFOs that you call UFOs, the United States government, all those spacecrafts that you're now watching by NORAD, even the one that we left here in Roswell, New Mexico in 1947, he architected that and then he built it. You call them flying machines, and you have come up with the technology in your mind that we gave you to try to duplicate those, as you have now created what you call passenger airline jets that fly you from one place to another, 36,000 feet up above, 38, however you, as far as you can go without your cabin pressure, losing cabin pressure. So we gave you that technology so you can keep up with us, and so you can fly me around from state to state where I have to go and where I must go during these last days. Because for me to take one of our aircrafts, our spacecrafts, get there too fast to take our time. That way I walk through the airport with what you see on my head and let the world know that I'm here wearing purple. I have on white and purple today because I'm going to clean the minds of those who should be wearing purple and clean them white. Take all the dirt out your mind. That's why I just showed you one dirty element just now, who's farther from me on the other side. Architect of the universe. Him. He goes on to write, the blessed and only potentate, comma, and I am the founder of the nation of Yudewave, not the founder of the nation of Israel. I am the founder of the nation of Israel. I changed Jacob's name from Jacob to Israel, Yahweh. You Shireshal of Yudewave. I did that. You got it?
Yeah.
He is not the founder of the nation of Israel. That's why I'm allowing them to call themselves Jews and play with that land for a while. Play in it and play with it. As well as an idiom that they cannot understand or comprehend. Ma'ab is the founder of the nation of Yod-Heh-Wav, which is celestial. It's above this planet. Each character of that, what you think is a name, there's three characters. Hebrew, one of the three positioned twice for a reason, known as Yod-Heh-Wav, from right to left, Yod-Heh-Wav. Three Hebrew symbols, one of the three positioned twice, all celestial, and he is the founder of that, which means before him there was no existence of that. Do we comprehend that?
Yeah.
Okay. Go on to say, true holiness and righteousness, the kingdom of Shalom. And in some books, he said that he came to establish the kingdom of Shalom. Shalom is not a condition, and it is not a living quarters. Shalom is a man, which is one of the appellations of his son. The kingdom of Shalom. Now you must know and find out what the kingdom of Shalom is. That he came to establish. And by him coming to Miami or Florida, then Shalom must be here in Miami or Florida. And you can take my word for it. It is now being established. What? Which is the most powerful knowledge of peace in existence. End quote. Period. I had to read that before I take you to page 18, speaking of appellations, where Ma put 50 appellations of me and himself in this book. Appellations. 50. For a reason. Now, all 50 are not me. Remember, he wrote for himself and myself.
Mhm.
So he put a few in of him and a few in of me. He cannot be both. Even being God, in a way, because you wouldn't understand that if I explained it. You have to go way back to Genesis before I can explain that. You know, it's like splitting mitosis into two of the soul to become by. And speaking of that, before you go any further, I said I promise that. Go to Ezekiel, go to the Bible. You should have it up there already. You wonder how we have both. Chapter 34, right? Chapter 34, 3 and 4 is 7. And then arithmetic, mathematics. 3 plus 4 is 7.
Mhm.
And verse 11, that's I, even I, 1, 1. It's all cryptic. It was segmented, divided that way for a purpose. Ezekiel chapter 34 and verse 11. You have it? Now we're going to ask our reader to read that.
For thus saith the Lord God, behold,
Mm-hmm.
I, even I, will both search my sheep and seek them out. End quote.
You have that? Both. I'm only revealing secrets today. I'm not going to go into it. That means you catch up. That's why I said you must hear with your mind today. I'm not going to expound on that. It's self-explanatory. Study it. Both.
Both.
And both were in the garden of Eden until it became 3.
Mm.
That means not only did he split himself in half, he also became a woman at the same time, taking bone and flesh and ribs out of himself. Took a rib, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, gave him a womb, became womb man, and also at the same time preserved for the end to become the sun-clad woman, which is his son. A woman painting to be delivered.
Mhm.
How could he create a woman and then let the woman be God over him? It's impossible. I mean, in order for him to be God over the woman, he must also be the woman. If he don't be the woman, then the woman will become God over him. Like my men are allowing their wives and girlfriends to be over them today, a God over them. That's why you're catching so much hell in your relationship. You don't know how to lead as a man. And our women today are looking for men who leads. Lead the family, follow in righteousness, lead in righteousness. Sound familiar?
Yeah.
All right, I had to say that because we're going to do another little writing exercise in a moment. But it's appellations from page 18 in alphabetical order. From page 18, that's 18, appellations of both Yod Wavhe, Beth Nun Sufa Yod Wavhe. It begins on page 18 and it goes all the way to page 29, I believe. Page 29 it ends up with the word. Can you see that? 29 ends up with the word. Now, I'm going to, in a few moments after we hear we're going to watch, if you can see it, it's very light, a video recording, and I promise you that it was recorded in Miami of Florida, in our temple that is known as the Temple of Love, international headquarters in Miami of Florida in 1986, when a few scribes visited that temple of Time magazine, scribes also called publishers, news reporters. They came as a result of a conspiracy of inquisition. Of course, my is famous. Every one who has a mind on this planet and who can speak, whatever idiom it may be, and whatever they may call it in their idiom, they've heard of God. Everyone heard of God. Even if they made gods of their own, they heard of the appellation known as God. That means my Father is infamously known as God in whatever language there is, God. According to 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 29, every nation made gods of their own, but my is the God of all gods. Go to that. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 10 and verse 17. Without him, there would be no existence of any other gods.
True.
He created all the materials that it takes and needed to make a god that they made. Even the buildings they put the gods in. He made the materials available for them to do that. Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 17. And we're going to ask our reader to read that too.
Quote, "For the Lord your God is God of gods and Lord of lords, a great God, a mighty and a terrible, which regardeth not persons, nor taketh reward."
Okay, end quote. That too does not need explanation. It's self-evident. It's self-explanatory. Ma'ab is God of all gods. Now go to 2 Kings chapter 17 and read verse 29. 2 Kings chapter 17. And I just told you how it happened. He provided the materials for them to make them.
Mm-hmm. Quote, "Howbeit every nation."
How many nations?
Every nation.
Every nation on this planet did what?
Made gods of their own.
Made gods of their own.
And put them in the houses of the high places which the Samaritans had made, every nation in their cities wherein they dwelt. End quote.
That too does not need an explanation. Self-explanatory. I believe now we should go to 1 Corinthians, I believe it is, chapter 8. Go to 1 Corinthians chapter 8 and see if that tells us more of these gods that are here today and how many there are. I believe that's correct. 1 Corinthians chapter 8. We have, is that it?
Yeah.
Start at verse 1.
Quote, "Now as touching things offered."
See, now we're touching things that are offered by sacrifice. Go ahead.
"Unto idols, we know that we all have knowledge. Knowledge puffeth up, but charity edifieth." Verse 2. "And if any man think that he knoweth anything, he knoweth nothing."
Really? I pray that whoever's watching this, if you have that kind of thought in your mind, that you get it out right now after hearing or reading this or you have nothing. You know nothing. So don't even waste my time preaching to me. And don't comment me in any comment box of social media, whether it be YouTube or Facebook, and try and teach me anything as if you know something. Because you know absolutely nothing. If you did, then you'd be sitting where I'm sitting. You'll be able to decipher all 404 verses of the book called Revelation that was sealed. You know nothing. If you did know something, then I wouldn't have to sit here and reveal what I'm about to reveal today. That you think you got. You haven't studied got. If you studied got, then I wouldn't be here. Because you would be got. But right now, according to what we're reading, you got nothing. You got nothing. G-O-T. So how could you study got? You got nothing, but yet I have 10. I have 10 what you're trying to get that you don't got. And that's why you can't even see. Why? Because I'm B and my arm is A. If you knew anything of that, then you would know what I'm saying right now, but you do not. So don't be a priest to me, because you are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. Read that part again. So is that knowledge? Read it again.
And if any man think that he knoweth anything,
Knowing anything, that's the root word of knowledge. Mm-hmm.
he knoweth nothing, yet as he ought to know.
No, the root word of knowledge. Read on.
Verse 3. But if any man love God, the same is known of him. Verse 4. As concerning therefore the eating of those things that are offered in sacrifice unto idols.
Unto idols. All you know is idols. And you're following Hebrew camps of idols. Whoever you chose to be your leader, whether it be a man or a woman, male or female, you are following them, and that was your choice. Still wearing white. Carrying staff so way above your head and have no knowledge of where the staff is supposed to be. You carry a staff that's 2 feet taller than you are and have no knowledge of what the staff is for. Because why? It's my rod and staff that should come from you. So what are you doing with a staff 3 times your size? Carrying around branches of trees. What are you going to do? Climb it? Or pole jump? Are you in the Olympics? Are you going to use it to pole jump? Are you a pole jumper? You have no knowledge of it. Let me see your sheep, shepherd. Read on.
We know that an idol is nothing in the world, and that there is.
What did you say?
We know that an idol is nothing in the world, and that there is none other God but one.
You must be reading that wrong. It's 2,000, 2 million gods. You sure that says one?
But one.
Read on.
For though there be that are called gods.
Oh, so they just called gods. Oh, they are called gods. Whether it be what?
Whether in heaven or in earth, as there be gods many and lords many. Verse 6.
Verse 6.
But to us there is but one God.
To who?
To us.
To us as one, but to them it's more than one. It's many. But to us, Hebrew, celestial beings from another planet, another world, there's one God. We are of and from the celestial lodge. One God. Who is that?
The Father.
That's the Father. See? See how easy that is? F-A-T-H-E-R. Odd. Mine odd. It didn't say our Father, did it? It will say what? The Father. He is the Father of one. To others, he is your good old. See, if he was a father of more than one, then all of you would be begotten. All of you would got 10 and be B. Not only would I got 10, you would be 10 and B, and you would got what I got. But you can't get it. Got it? What else?
Of whom are all things, and we in him, and one Lord.
No, how many?
One Lord.
Who?
The Christ.
The Christ. All they want to be me. See, B? Me. With who?
By whom are him?
We by him. And he can make you. And he made you. He's the only one that can begot you. He can. The Christ can beget you. He can begot you. But you can't beget him. And neither would the Father begot you. That way, if it did, only would not serve a purpose.
Say only begotten.
Go to Jeremiah chapter 10. We're clearing up the subject today of how many gods there are, or there is, and who my Ab is. Because some are under the impression that he's the son because they keep playing his videos over and over and over again. His 1980s videos on the podium in the temple, they don't even exist anymore. It's an ambulance service today. An ambulance company since 2001, I believe. An ambulance service company. Same building, same address, different company. Jeremiah chapter 10, read verse 10. Read verse 9 and 10.
Quote, silver spread into plates is brought from Tarshish, and gold from Euphaz, the work of the workmen, and of the hands of the founding. Blue and purple is their clothing. They are
Blue
all,
and purple.
They are all the work of cunning men.
Cunning men. Verse 10.
But the Lord is the true
But
God.
who
But the Lord
is what?
is the true God.
So that means you have a lot of false gods running around here then. They're the ones in 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 29.
Right.
Many false gods. What?
He is the living God. And
Mine Og is the true God. He lives. He is not dead. He is the living God. How could you bound God to death and you are living? Have you become God over him? He is the living God, and I believe it's going to say everlasting King.
and an everlasting King.
At his wrath, the earth shall tremble.
And his wrath, the earth shall
And
tremble.
the nations shall not be able to abide under his indignation.
Truly. And the nations shall not be able to abide his indignation.
Oh.
End quote.
End quote. I must know something. I had to share that with you. So when we show you now where we're going to go to on YouTube, you'll know who is speaking and how he spoke to them. Remember, what you're about to see, because you're going to go to YouTube, what you're about to see is a video recording that you can find on YouTube under Time Interview, Yahweh. You can watch it in its entirety. It's about 57 minutes short, so a few seconds. We're only going to take out a few segments of those minutes of subject. But remember, as you watch this, he knows who he's speaking to face, a room full of them. They're known biblically and spiritually as devils. They're also known as Gentiles. They're also known as non-believers. So what he is doing and demonstrating in their face is using his war strategy as the man of war. Ma'ab is the man of war. War tactics, war strategy. You think he's going to let the enemy come in and then still put a gun in the enemy hand so they can shoot him? He's going to give the enemy all the information that they want and they're looking for that day so they can destroy his children, his sheep, and they can continue to rule this planet forever. You're out of your mind. No, take that back. You cannot be out of your mind. It's impossible. Well, why is it impossible? Because you don't have a mind. If you had a mind, then you would be out of your mind. But if you had a mind, you wouldn't be out of it because you would have a mind to stay in it. So those who don't have a mind, you cannot be out of it. So that's impossible. So you're not out of your mind. So I'm encouraging you to find your mind and stay in it. I'm going to help you find your mind so you can stay in it. Right? Okay. If you think that he's going to tell the enemy how to kill him. And in some part, it's a part, we may go beyond what I had in mind because he is telling me to go let him hear that part that you can't kill God. Go, you have YouTube? Go to YouTube. And I'm going to step aside so they can see that. It's just more hearing than seeing. And go to the library and it should be right there. Okay. Play that.
persevere? Did you start teaching right here, or in the neighborhood, or in Miami?
And you can read that for yourself. I don't have to open the book and read it for you. In John chapter 1, it states that in the beginning was the Word was with Yahweh, and the Word was Yahweh. Then it goes down to tell you that the Word would become flesh and dwell among men. I am that flesh, and I'm dwelling among you today. Then it goes on to tell you that I would come to my own people from whom I'm born, and that they would receive me not. Though I'm in the world, though the world is made by me, and I'm in the world, yet the world knows me not. So the world has to come into the knowledge of me. So that for that reason, I'm rejected. I was rejected and despised by my own people. That fulfills the scriptures. Totally, I have lived that. Then, after I demonstrate my persistence, that I would be rewarded with those who would come into the knowledge and who would believe and be redeemed. And that's what I'm doing. And of course, then the world will take notice through the work that I do. And I've lived that. I'm living it. All that the word is, from Genesis through Revelations, I'm living it. Because I come in the volume of this book, all 66 of them.
So you're speaking of both the New Testament and the Old Testament?
Yes, and Revelations.
And but in the New Testament, you reject the emergence of the Messiah.
No, I am the Messiah that is prophesied.
So,
I am the Messiah of the New Testament.
but the books that talk about Jesus, they're not, are out of date or
That's prophetic. You see, Jesus, the man that is called, Jesus, remember his name is Yahshua.
yeah.
Yahshua was a disciple of John.
We're pausing here for a moment. I'm being told and commanded to break this down for everyone who's watching this video. Why? Because it is a matter of life and death. I pray to my that you can hear what I am saying right now. I'm prophesying again. I'm prophesying on top of prophecy to be fulfilled. Did you hear me?
Yeah.
And this is the last chance. Remember, it's been weeks, if not months, since I've been on live stream for a reason. And some could even see what they think is a man speaking right now, an ordinary man. And you can look at my profile on this video. You can see I'm not the same man. I'm not the same one that was on live stream even a month or two ago. Let's not even go back a year. You have no idea why my hair is long like it is today. You don't know what that signifies at all, as it was before, with 2023 years ago. That's the reason why my hair was long then, incognito, to cover up. So with that said, I'm reminding you once again, pay attention. It's a matter of life or death. It's not life and or death. It's life or death. I'm being told to break this down what he said in 1986, and you see for yourself. And many have heard and watched this video, but you couldn't see it. Neither did you hear it. We pause here this segment so you can hear him say and speak of the man that is called Jesus. I'm going to come on that level. I'm going to speak on that idiom, on that level. I'm descending down. I am descending down from heaven today to fulfill 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 16. I'm descending down, according to Proverbs chapter 30, verse 4, to grab you, to come and get you. My just mentioned, as they said, Jesus. And they said, remember, the man that is called Jesus, his name was Yahshua. And on that note, you must admit especially you who are watching this right now. This entire planet, especially the Christians, over 3 billion Christians are following Christianity today. And that includes the Vatican of Rome and their Pope and all of his archbishops and bishops, every clergy on this planet, and their own churches that they makeshift, even if it's a storefront church, in a tent, in a lot, a vacant lot. They are all looking for the man that's called Jesus to return today. Did you hear me? He just told them in their face in 1986 that Jesus was a disciple of John. But this entire planet is looking for Jesus to return. You see signs all over the streets in every city in this country. Jesus is coming soon. Homeless people walking out in traffic with a cardboard, standing on the sidewalk, bumper stickers on back of vehicles that saying Jesus is coming soon. You have one fellow on YouTube calling himself Adam. Jesus is coming soon. You hear my army is telling him in 1986, the man that is called Jesus, remember his name was Yahshua, was a disciple of John. You hear it? Let it continue. Watch my cue to pause. Let it continue. Be very careful with the mouse.
John was the man. John was the prophet. The man called Jesus when he was baptized. Baptized had nothing to do with the water. Again, the scriptures are written figuratively, literally, in metaphors, similes, in prose, and in poetry, and full of allegories. So when you read
You got it? My artist reminded them from his book, the yellow book, Our History, the World's Best Kept Secret, lesson number 1 and 2, You Are Not a Nigger. How many different ways the Bible, the scrolls are written. The scrolls, the Hebrew scrolls were written, handwritten, manuscript, with ink, an iron pen dipped in ink, handwritten in manuscript from right to left in Hebraic. And when they were done so in codex, encrypted, so that those who discover them would not be able to comprehend or understand what was being said. They would read it literally, but it was in code so that only two would be able to communicate by those scrolls. John and the man that's called Jesus would be the only two that would be able to comprehend what those scrolls would be saying and what they would be transliterated into be saying today in all idioms, especially English, especially allegory. Are you following me?
Yeah.
It's a matter of life or death. So he just reminded them how the scriptures were written in ink. But the Bible was printed. All Bibles on this planet, if it's in a book form, was printed by a printing press and also redacted. And a lot of euphemism. There's a lot of euphemism in the Bible. The name Jesus is one of them that you read in today's King James Version and all Bibles that have that Greek name in it, Jesus. Jesus in Greek, Jesus in Spanish, Jesus in English. Printed, which is not the original name. You got it? And I believe he said, if we didn't get to it yet, his name was Yahshua. Yahshua. You got it?
Yeah.
Okay. So make sure you click on the proper and let that continue for another couple seconds, a few seconds.
The man that was called Jesus being baptized and being put under water, then I would have to teach you what baptized means. You'd have to break down the word baptized in all of its letters. See, every word is scientifically composed of letters that are words within.
Go back just a little bit. Press the mouse and go back on that just a little bit. Yeah. And pick up from right there. Just one more bit.
The man.
Just a little bit. If you could use a mouse to go back. Okay.
Remember, his name is Yahshua.
Yeah.
Yahshua was a disciple of John. John was the man. John was the prophet. The man called Jesus, when he was baptized, baptized had nothing to do with the water. Again, the scriptures are written figuratively, literally, in metaphors, similes, in prose, and in poetry, and full of allegories. So when you read of the man that was called Jesus being baptized and being put under water, then I would have to teach you what baptized means. You'd have to break down the word baptized in all of its letters. See, every word is scientifically composed of letters that are words within themselves. Every letter is a word.
Are you following? I'm not here alone to ask the question. If you don't answer the question, that means you're lost and you're going to die. I see this as a matter of life and death. If I don't hear you, then you choose death. Now, or you don't comprehend, let me know. That's why we're pausing, so I don't leave you behind. Every word have letters in them, and each letter creates another word. You got it? Every letter is a word that's scientifically composed of other words and letters in the English idiom, as well as the characters of Hebraic. You got to follow this now. I've demonstrated that to you several times, even when we're not on live stream. Right here, I can take one letter and change it around and put it upside down and make another letter, and then put those two letters together and make a word. That what you think is a P, a lowercase P can actually be a B upside down or a D backward. You put a tail on it, it could be a Q. Lowercase. Or uppercase, I'll put a line through it and become an O, put an O there and put a line through it to the bottom and it's slanted. You got an uppercase Q. When all you have is a spaceship entering the cosmos on Q. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we're going to go further. Just a little bit more so you know that each letter is a word composed of, each word composed of letters and scientifically composed of other words and letters. Let it play just a little bit, a couple more seconds.
When you break down the word baptized, you have B, which follows A, and I am A. Alpha. B follows the series of A. And
Okay, now where are we? A. My ob is A. He says to himself, did you hear him? Alpha in Greek. He said alpha in Greek, A. Why Greek? Because I have to take you to the Greek in a few moments to show you what the Greeks did on how they hid me under B. He's A. That means his disciple, who he called Jesus, is B. I mentioned earlier, he's A, I'm B. You have Ob. You have Ob from right to left, from right to left, from right to left, you have Aleph, Beth, Av. And from left to right, you have Ba. Huh? From left to right, you have Ba. From right to left, you have Av. When you put it together as both, you have Abba. Right?
Yeah.
My soul said many years ago, call no man Abba, because you're speaking of both. So since he just made it clear that he's A, now we have to focus on B. So write down on your paper, B-E. B. You have B? All right. Write these down too. I'm going to give you another list. I'm going to give you a list of words. I want you to, on your paper, just like you in school, because we're in school, it's Friday school, not Sunday school. This is Friday school. Number your paper on the left side of the column of your paper from 1 to 10. From 1 to 10. Now, next to number 1, put down the first book of the Bible that we call now Genesis. There's no J. Gimel. That's Gimel. That's, You may look at it Genesis in English. Put Genesis and put a colon after that. You know the colon is 2 dots by the S. And then put down Adam. Adam. That's the first. That's the first in the series. Why? Because he created Adam. We're going right back to the beginning. The first man. The first in the series, Adam. Ma'ab is not Adam. He created Adam. God. You have enough theological knowledge in your mind to know that when you go back to Genesis chapter 1. In the beginning, God created. He also said he's John. Same thing in John chapter 1. In the beginning was the Word. The Word created Adam. Number 2, put Genesis again with another colon and put Shiloh, 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 the lawgiver. In parentheses, put the lawgiver. You got it? Number 3, put Joshua. You mentioned Joshua with a Y. If you want to put J, that's up to you, Joshua. He said Joshua. So number 3 is Joshua. And you're going to also put next to that comma, you put Joshua, comma, the son of Nun, N-U-N. The son of Nun, N-U-N. Now you're in Exodus. Got it? Number 4, the judge. You put down the judge and put after the judge, that's Judge. And put down another colon after the E and put down Shimshon or Samson. Shimshon, Samson. Number 5, you're going to put down Solomon. Solomon, Solomon. In parentheses, you're going to put down the book of 1 Kings, chapter 2, when Solomon came into the books. The name, not the soul, the name. Right now you're dealing with, well, I save that when you finish. When we get to 10, I'm going to share with you what you have. We got number 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
Emmanuel with an I. Immanuel. And that's also in this book. I'm sharing also something in this book. See, I have first and last right here. You put Adam. It's in the book. I'm showing you appellations. And you just put down Emmanuel. It's page 22. Emmanuel. You put down Shiloh.
Yeah.
It's in the book. Page 28. Shiloh. You put down Judge. In the book, page 22. Appellations. Page 22. You don't have Solomon. Solomon is not in the book, but it is an appellation known as peace. Shalom. Shalomo. You stopped at 6, Emmanuel?
Yeah.
Okay, Son of Man. Number 7 is Son of Man of Ezekiel. And that's also in the book under Son of God on page 28. The man is God. Son of Man. That man is God. Ezekiel. All throughout the book called Ezekiel, you see Son of Man.
Yeah.
Son of God. Page 28 of this book. Number 7. So in parentheses, put of Ezekiel. Son of Man in parentheses of Ezekiel. Number 8, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to put the great prince in parentheses, Michael. And that's here on 26. See, it don't say the Prince of Peace, but it has Prince. Why? Because it pertains to both. He's a Prince of Peace, and then you have Michael, the great prince. Using one noun, Prince, on page 26. So you're going to put number 8, the great prince, Michael, of Daniel chapter 12, verse 1. And number 9 is you're going to put Micah. And in Micah, you're going to put, after the H, you're going to put another colon, and you're going to put peace and shalom. Because Micah is the man peace. The whole book, all 7 chapters is Micah, and you're going to put especially chapter 5 that says that Micah is the man peace. Shalom, shalomo. As my came to establish the kingdom of shalom. Now you know who that kingdom is. And finally, number 10, you're going to put the Christ. Right? You're going to also put a colon after the T of the Christ. And then you're going to put Nazarene. 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 And that's on the bottom of page 25 of this book. Nazarene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You got it? In parentheses, you're going to put Matthew chapter 2 and verse 23 in parentheses of Nazarene. Matthew chapter 2, verse 23. And on that note, come out the screen for one moment. We're going to go back. Go back to your page and go to Matthew chapter 2, verse 23. I'll put that in parentheses so you can see it. That's the last one. It's number 10. When you get it, read it. I have my back to it.
Quote, and he came and dwelt in a city called Nazareth, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophets. He shall be called a Nazarene.
Praise you.
Praise Yahweh. End quote.
Got it? Now, so far you wrote down 10 appellations of myself, of me. Did you hear what I just said?
Yeah.
From 1 to 10 are appellations of me. And that's how many times I've been here on this planet from the beginning.
Wow.
One soul.
Mm.
One soul. That one soul is B. My orb is A.
Mm-hmm.
I'm B. You got it? B. And I've been here before the beginning. But since records were kept in Genesis, before the earth was, I was with him.
Mm-hmm.
I come from everlasting. That you can make a note, and that's verse 2. I come from everlasting. I'm not going to it. I already came from it. That means everlasting follows me. How else will I be able to offer you everlasting life if I didn't come from it?
Right.
I came from it so I can take you back to it to have everlasting life with me.
Mm-hmm.
That's a part of the subject. The title of this testimony today that you'll see on YouTube as well as Facebook is Whosoever Believeth in Him. Whosoever believeth in Him. You got it? Again, 10 appellations I showed you. You wrote down your notes of one soul. I am B. Go back to YouTube. And let that continue.
B is also the word BE, which comes into existence as a result of A. So, therefore, John was prophesying.
You got it? B came into existence as a result of A. A created B. Okay, just go back just a little because we're going to go into another phrase of that.
So when you break down the word baptize, you have B, which follows A, and I am A. Alpha. B follows the series of A. And B is also the word BE, which comes into existence as a result of A. So, therefore, John was prophesying about A coming, which is the first in the series. And the second set of the word is APT, meaning apt. Now, to be apt, you have to be, that meant that the man was baptized by John, had to become clever, adroit, sagacious, etc., in the ism of John. That made him an ist. That's why he was called John the Baptist. See, he too he came to be in the knowledge of Yahweh, and he then subsequently became apt in the ism, which is the dogma and the laws of Yahweh. So, since John was the one that was the prophet, then the man that was called Jesus was baptized by him. That made him a student and a disciple of John.
Not the one. Did you hear it? The man that the world is looking for to come today, who's already here, is known throughout history, whether it be theological or biological or chronological. Chronological. Is known as a student and a disciple of John. And yet he's still a savior. Have the power to save the world. He has the power to save all those who want to be saved. And the only ones that he cannot save are those that don't want to be saved. That means he has the power, as he invited in Micah chapter 4, to save other nations.
Mm-hmm.
He has the power, as it was already demonstrated, to save those who are sick and was facing death. He has the power to save the president of the United States from his illness right now. That's proven in Malachi chapter 4 and verses 2 and 3. The healings in his wings several times. So you're saying, we just heard Ma'ab say that the one that's called Jesus, Yeshua, is a student and a disciple of John. Go back just a little bit. Play that part over just a little bit, not much.
The one that was the prophet. Then the man that was called Jesus was baptized by him. That made him a student and a disciple of John, not the one. And when he attempted to assume the mantle of the one, he began to teach secrets that were not to be taught until the time of the one to come. He was 2,000 years, well, 1,900 years earlier.
See, they probably listen to that, but they didn't hear it. And no, they didn't catch that. Which was another codex, Midrash. Ma'ab told them in their faces in 1986, 1986 years after the crucifixion, that he was 1900 years too early to reveal the secrets, letting them know that he was not the one, that the one who they're waiting on will be surfaced after the year 2000, which is prophetic. And that means after the year 2000, even 2010, 2020, he will begin revealing secrets that will not be too early. Why? Because it'll almost be too late. It'll be at the end of the world, the end of this world. So since the soul of the one who became a student and a disciple of John began to reveal secrets over 2023 years ago, he was crucified for it. Stripped down naked in his shorts, as it said it would be in Micah chapter 1 and verse 8. Make a note and read it. He said it would be. Finish it, read it. Continue that.
And when he began to reveal the knowledge of who Satan was, John 8:44, when he began to reveal the knowledge of the Son, the knowledge of whose right to rule it was, he could not afford to be left alive. So for breaking the secret, for teaching the secret that he had learned in secret, he was killed for it. And that's why he was hung in his shorts without any clothes on, because he was initiated in that manner. That's why his collarbone was broken and his head was hung to the side.
How was he initiated in that manner? The Christ. Stripped down to his shorts, initiated in that manner. How is that? No one on this planet can tell you that except the one to whom it pertains. Pertains left record of it that it would happen that way to be initiated. And I just told you. Now go to Micah, go to the Bible for a moment. We're going to finish that. We come back. Go to Micah chapter 1. And I would like for you to read verse 8. 8. 00 connected together. You're speaking for me.
Quote, therefore will I wail and howl.
That means wailing and howling means if you go around teaching and saying things in secret that he was not supposed to be saying. Like the wise men were doing over in the Middle East. Like the owl. And what?
I will go stripped and naked.
The initiation. That's prophets. They're prophetic. I will go stripped and naked as an initiation. There it is right there. That was hidden. I just loosed it today for the first time. That's what my was speaking of.
Wow.
Be stripped in his shorts. initiated. Now, by Micah saying that means Micah is the one.
Right.
While you're there on that book, go to chapter 5. Read verse 2. Why do you think he called me Micah when I stood before him in 1979 in this very same suburb, Brownfield, in Miami, Florida, this city in this state? I stood before him that night on a Wednesday night, and he said, "Your name is Micah. Write it down." I didn't name myself. I don't have the kind of mind to name myself. He gave me the mind. He named me, and they gave me the mind to name others. So I'm the only one I did not name. He named me. I didn't say I'm going to call myself Micah. He named Isaiah chapter 49. He made mention of my name. Isaiah chapter 49 verse 1. Make a note and read it. I'm the only one in existence that he created, made, that I didn't name. All others I named. Now you got to go back to Genesis chapter 2 and read that. Begin at verse 18, 19, 20. Read that, verse 2.
But thou, Bethlehem Ephrathah, though thou be little among the thousands of Judah, yet out of thee shall he come forth unto me that is to be ruler in Israel, whose goings forth have been from of old, from everlasting.
I told you, I'm from everlasting. That was written in Codex. You think a third person is speaking or the second person. That's the first person speaking. Hidden in Midrash and Codex, so you wouldn't know who was who. Now go read verse 5 while you're on that chapter. Read verse 5.
And this man shall be the peace.
The same man in verse 2 will be born from Yehuda, Ephrathah. Fulfilling Hebrews. This man should be not any peace, the peace that Ma'ad came to establish the kingdom of Shalom. Go back to the video. Play a little bit more of that. We're going to conclude now a certain section. Go ahead.
Because that's a sign that all men who study in secret understand quite well. I'm the only one to make that clear.
You still, the Bible, Scripture is the basis for you.
Yeah, I am. And I come in the volume of this book. I have no statements outside of it. I'm the fulfillment of it. In other words, I'm the promised Messiah of the Old Testament, fulfilling the New. That's me. That's why up until this time, for 1900 years, he's been promised to come back, knowing full well that I am to come.
The Scriptures, if you interpret it that way,
You're going to continue. I'm being told. Make a note of come back. Just while your paper prophesied to come back, right? You just write come back. Now, as you write come back on your paper, in parentheses, I want you to write a synonymous word for come back, which is again. Again, right? A-G-A-I-N, again, right? Okay, make a note of that now. We're going to come to it. Continue.
foretold the death of the man called Christ. Do you see such an end for you? Will you die? Will you be persecuted?
I'm being persecuted.
Will you be fatally persecuted?
I cannot be fatally persecuted. I'm incarnate. You can't kill God.
In the same interview, he told those scribes in their faces that he's God. John. He separated himself from who they call Jesus. That he is the Messiah of both the Old Testament and the New Testament. He just told them in their faces, in this recording, that you can't kill God. He's self-carnate. The man they call Jesus cannot and never will be self-carnate. He has to be brought back again and again and again, 10 times
Mm.
from the beginning. I think my mind is telling me, here's in my mind, to play that over again. Go back a little bit and play that again as we conclude the video.
The scriptures, if you interpret them that way, foretold the death of the man called Christ. Did you see such an end for you?
I'm being persecuted.
Could you be fatally persecuted?
I cannot be fatally persecuted. I'm incarnate. You can't kill God. It does not matter at all about the vessel that I'm in. I chose to come in it, and this physical vessel is totally irrelevant. Totally. I am spirit. And I'm true.
You can listen to the rest on your own. I'm not trying to prove a point. I don't have to prove anything. Now, with that said, go to your concordance. And got. Type in got. I'm going to go with you to make sure you get this. Type in got. G-O-T, not God. Into the truth now with the T. Type in got. You should see got.
Wow.
How many times?
7 times.
7 times. That's it. And times. Huh? Not one time is it found in the New Testament. Am I correct or am I right?
Yeah.
The last time was in Jeremiah chapter 13. Is that right?
Yeah.
And all the meanings are not the same. Go to the first meaning, which should be H7408. Is that correct? In Genesis chapter 36. And what's the meaning?
To collect or gather property.
To collect or gather property. So I'm here collecting and gathering property, and make a note of that. That's under H7408. And the next one is in Genesis chapter 39. Which is what?
On the H3318,
Mm-hmm.
we have
To go out?
To go out. Come out. Or exit.
To go forth.
Go forth.
Okay. So put to go forth. You could also put to come out, because it's going to come out one body and go into the next body. Same soul. To go forward. But most importantly, put down to go forward. This is God in Hebrew. Comes on the yod. I mean, it was empowered by Yod. Yasa. Hmm? That's 3318H, right? The same thing as in Genesis chapter 39 twice. Verse 12 and verse 15, same thing. Got him.
Yeah.
Now look at Psalms, a different one, 34:23. Also by Yod.
To seize.
To seize.
Dispossess.
Mm-hmm.
Take possession of. Or inherit. Or disinherit. Occupy, impoverish, or be inherited.
Okay. Right down to being here. That's going to take you to Psalms. Is that Psalms?
Yeah.
Now go to Ecclesiastes chapter 2. And you have a different one of 7069. Right?
Yeah.
What is that?
To get, acquire.
To get and acquire.
Create.
I mean, to get and acquire of God. So that means someone's going to get and acquire someone to go forward. Right?
Yeah.
And that means the other two in Jeremiah in chapter 13, verses 2 and 4, the same meaning. Is that right? 7069.
Yeah. Same meaning.
Okay, now go back to your search box and type in two letters. Ma'ab is what? He's who? Symbolically. He's A. Who's B? His student, the Christ, the disciple of John. So go to your search box and type in B. Just B, the letter B. And go to it. See somebody named H.B. Charles?
H.B. Charles.
Jr. Right. That means the last name is Charles. That means someone's going to be coming from Judah who's going to carry the name Charles on the B. In the dead world, terrestrial. See, don't you see B before Charles? Also known as Junior, like he has. All right, now go back to the search box. But this Charles, this B coming from the east. This B would come from the east, so you got to put the E next to the B. And then what you have? How many times B?
Wow, 7,000.
7,012 times. B-E from the east. The other B by B alone, Charles, he right here, born in the west in bondage. Great-great-grandson of a slave. But this B-E, 7,000 times. The first time should be in Genesis chapter 1.
Yeah.
Click on it, see if it takes you to H 1961. Click on it and get the meaning. Make a note.
To be, become.
To be, become,
pass.
huh?
To come to pass, exist.
To come to pass and exist. That means the Father brought into existence B, because he couldn't come into existence without A. You say that?
Yeah.
B came into existence as a result of A. B-E. That's Hebrew. Go down to, look at the columns. Go back out of that and look and go to the columns. Look how many columns you have when you go down to the bottom. Look all those columns. – 15. Wow. Look all the columns, like 80 some columns, isn't it? 90 some, over 100, 110 columns. Go to the first column. Go to the first column of the New Testament. Go to column number, I'm going to go with you. Go to column number 82. And see what we have in Greek under B. No, I'm not. That's not going to. Not much. I mean, you have something in
we have some in Matthew.
Yeah, but no, we don't want that one.
Okay.
Go to
different in Matthew 5.
I know, but that's not what you're looking for. Go to column number 86. We may find it there. We're looking for B. There's a particular B, we're looking for that comes after A.
You got something 25, Matthew 25:9, that is G 7:14.
That's not going to be it. You can click on that, but that's not the one. Okay, go to since the subject is John. We're looking for B in Greek. See how many different meanings they put in Greek?
Yeah.
And yet, when you go to the Old Testament, you only come to maybe 2 or 3 meanings. With the same results here in the New Testament, probably have to go to Luke. B-E. Let there be. Will that be 14:10? We're looking for 846. G 846. I mean, that's what we're looking for. B in Greek. They hit it. That would be the one that takes you to himself. Is that G 846 or
Yeah,
50?
that's 846.
Go to because I mean with all these columns it's there, but they tried to hide it. So go ahead. Go to you're not going to find it in a written book because it becomes an index meaning. Only 2 letters, B-E, is, etc. So click on G 846 for B. And then what do you have?
We have himself.
Himself.
Yeah.
Under the Greeks.
Number 3, we have the same.
The what?
The same.
The same. The same. Fulfilling Acts chapter 1, verse 11.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, now go back to your. So what do you have? You have B-E.
Mm-hmm.
You looked up got.
Yes.
Now go to your search box and type in 10. And where you found 10. There are 10 appellations I gave you. Right?
Yeah.
Look up 10. What's 10? A cardinal number that goes with other numbers. Mm-hmm. What do you have?
We have it under H 6235.
6235. And what do you have?
We have 10 with other numbers.
Well, it begins with what Hebrew symbol?
Ayin.
Ayin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, when you put these two, this exercise, now you're writing. You're going to put these three words together. BE, right? GOT and TEN. Juxtapose them together, side by side. And what do you have?
Begotten.
Begotten. There is not one word. There's three that they juxtapose together in transliteration.
Mm.
Yet they are still letting you know that there's a begotten son that was taught by John. And John hid him in the scrolls that they translated today and put in chapter 3.
Mm.
So now go to John chapter 3. As in the third day. John chapter 3. Well, actually, before you go to chapter 3, because Ma was saying to them during that meeting interview, he went and gave them a little bit of John chapter 1. As he said in the beginning was the word with God, the word was God, right? And the word made flesh. I am that flesh, he said, right?
Mm.
So now go to John chapter 1 and read verse 14.
Quote, and the word was made flesh and dwelt among us.
Now, you should have a comma in your Bible after us.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have something in parentheses.
Yeah.
The theologians of Rome and Greece, they knew, just like they interviewed before, they knew who was who. So they're putting in parentheses, making you think that John is the one who was made flesh as the only begotten of the Father. Well, yet he told them in his face, he is the Father.
Right.
So I had to point that out to you before you read it so you'll know who is who, was what. Read on in the parentheses, and what?
And we beheld his glory.
Why would in parentheses begin with an and as a conjunction? You bring it on another person. We beheld his glory, what?
The glory as.
The glory as of
The only begotten.
the only begotten. Not the, but as of the only begotten of who?
The Father. Full of grace and truth.
Now look how they didn't put a comma inside the parenthesis after or before and, but they put one after Father in the same parenthesis. They're letting you know there that it's two separate deities.
Mm.
Full of grace and truth. Right? Click on that begotten under G3439. You should have it already in your concordance. If not, go to it. Put it in your concordance search box. G3439. And what does it take you to?
Single of its kind.
One
Only.
of its kind only. All right? Don't leave chapter 1. Going down to verse 18, you'll have the same meaning in Greek under begotten. But read that verse 18, John chapter 1.
No man hath seen God at any time.
Let that soak in for a moment. Although my was here with them in that vessel that he mentioned to them, he's not bound to a vessel that he chose to come in. They didn't know him as God. I'm the only one that came along after he ascended that vessel on May 7th, Monday, May 7th, 2007. I'm the only one that came after him that identified him as God, the Father. Let me read it so you can see why.
The only begotten Son, which is in the bosom of the Father, he hath declared him.
Not only did I identify him, I declared him as Father, as There it is.
There it is.
Now go back. Now go to chapter 3 and read verse 16.
Quote, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son."
Let pause. Now, what world? I don't see in my Bible planet,
Mhm.
world. The majority of the people today are under the assumption that this planet is a world, and it's not. This planet has many worlds on it. In fact, each nation on this planet is a world.
Mhm.
That means the nation of Israel is also a world. Now, also Esau, the nation of Esau, the Edomites, is a world. And in the same Bible, it reads that God hate Esau,
I love you.
but loved Jacob. Was not Esau Jacob's brother? Said the Lord, yet I loved Jacob and hated Esau and laid his mountains down, heritage of the wilderness for the dragons. So every nation that made gods of their own became a world of their own with their own God. And so is Israel. And that's the nation, that's the world that God loves. Not only that, he so loved the world, Israel, that he gave to Israel, who? His only begotten son. Do you see the word only?
Only.
So why does everybody else want to be the only begotten son?
Right.
How come he's the only begotten son? Because he's the only one that he got 10 times to come in different bodies, the same soul, 10 times, and appointed him to come forward and keep going forward and forward and forward to the end, according to your definitions of meanings that he got. That became B after A. He became B after A that he got over and over again 10 times to become begotten. That what? That whoso,
That whosoever believes.
that is the key. It doesn't matter who you are. Whosoever believeth in him should perish.
Should not perish.
Should not perish. See, that's not, should not be killed. That should not perish. That means even if you kill, after that you perished. You can be killed and still exist.
Right.
But these people who don't believe, they're going to perish to non-existence ever again. They're going to perish. So those who don't believe are going to perish, but those who believe should not perish, but have what?
Everlasting
I
life.
take you back to everlasting with me, because I come from everlasting. And I am extremely confident with that. I am extremely confident with this statement in English as you read it in the Bible. I know where I come from, and I also know where I'm going. And would you also believe I know where I am? Read verse 17.
For God sent not his son into the world
See?
to condemn the world.
See where I am? He sent not his son? That means his son was sent, didn't come on his own. Not to condemn the world, but to what?
But that the world through him might be saved.
Now you see what that might is there? Because everyone don't want to be saved. Read on. Verse 18. Verse 18.
He
What?
that believeth on him.
You have that again. Not only believe. What?
On him.
Now you got on him. That means, and I have it on my head right now. It's on me, not in me. In me, you can't. You don't even know what's in me. You would never be able to find out what's in me. You hear some of it come out of my mouth, and it's not even a little bit. It's less than a little bit that you hear come out of my mouth. But there's something on me that you should believe. And read on what?
on him is not condemned, but he that believeth not is condemned already,
Why?
because he have not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of God.
Right. The name. That's what's on me.
Mhm, the name, yeah.
The name.
Yeah.
And you have billions of people on this planet that believe in the name Jesus. That cannot be the name of the Son, God's Son. Why? Because they're condemned already.
Oh,
Do you see that?
yeah.
His name couldn't be Joshua either. You know how many Joshua there are?
Mhm.
But I have a name on my forehead right now that no one knew except me, myself, my art, that created it. And reminded me of it months ago, if not over a year or so ago, in a vision. All I have to do is call on a particular letter in the name that's still not in order yet. You see 5. There's 7 in total, 7 spirits. 2 of them I'm holding back for those who come and believe in the name when I reveal it. Then you'll be saved.
Mm.
You have to click on begotten. Did you click on it? Go to G3439.
Yeah, we went to it.
You went to it. There's another one though. Go to G1080. Actually, go to Acts chapter 13, verse 33, and read that. You should read that. That's where you're going to find it. Here's why you're going to find it again. This going to blow your mind. That's why I told you to write 10 times the appellation. Why? Because this is not the first time he raised me. Again and again and again. Here we are again at the end. Now read it for yourself in the 13 mem. 13 mem. What book? Micah. What book? The 33rd book of number 3. Read it.
God hath fulfilled the same unto us. their
Which one?
children.
The what?
The same.
Not a different one?
Mm-mm.
The same. Unto what?
Unto us, their children, in that he have raised up the Christ again.
Again? Even as this was written over 2,023 years ago, that means since he did it again, before that time, he raised him up again.
Mm-hmm.
Before Matthew. Here he is again. I think you should click on it again while you're there. Click on G450.
Mm-hmm.
And what does it take you to in Greek?
It takes us to cause to rise up, raise up, to raise up from the dead,
From the dead.
cause to be born.
A born again, another body.
Yeah.
Although this body I have now is the same one I had before because I have the tattoos, which is called scars, on my body to prove it.
Yeah.
So if you come to Miami, I'll show them to you. Under my right nipple, my left kneecap, where they pierced the sword and the nails or the nail or the tree. Read that over again.
God hath fulfilled the same unto us, their children, in that he have raised up the Christ again, as it is also written in the 2nd Psalm, Thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee.
You got it. Click on that begotten. What's that?
G1080.
G1080.
Of men who fathered children and to be born, of God making Christ his son.
That's how he's my father. I'm his only begotten son. He has a biological that he had here, one, but I'm the only begotten because I was always with him. In fact, I watched the one whom he had with him in biological come into existence. Oh, yes, he's like a terrestrial brother to me. A terrestrial brother to me. Go to Philippians. No, you don't need Philippians. Go to Hebrews chapter 1. Read verse 5. Hebrews chapter 1, verse 5. Stay in your concordance.
Hebrews 1:5.
Yeah.
Quote, for unto which of the angels said he at any time, thou art my son?
He didn't say that to any other angel except one.
Mhm.
That what?
This day have I begotten thee.
See, that's a question.
Mhm.
In other words, you have to read it like that. For unto which of the angels said he at any time, thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee? Which one? And again, I will be to him a father, and he shall be called to me a son. Question.
Keep saying the word again.
Again. Read verse, well, go to chapter 5 now, Hebrews, chapter 5.
Verse 5.
Chapter 5, Hebrews, chapter 5, read verse 5. 5.
Quote, so also Christ glorified not himself.
He did not. He did not glorify himself. So stop the foolishness of making you think that I glorify myself. All your negative comments on Facebook as if I'm glorifying myself. I do not glorify myself. I even said that. I said I'm not seeking glory or fame. That what?
To be made an high priest.
I didn't glorify myself to become made a high priest. But what?
But he that said unto him, thou art
That's
my
the one
son.
who glorified me.
Yeah.
The one who said, thou art my son. Today have I begotten thee. Do you have it?
Yeah.
1 Peter chapter 1, verse 3. Read it.
Blessed be the God and Father of our Lord the Christ, which according to his abundant mercy have begotten us.
I have the power to beget you again unto a lively hope by the resurrection of myself from the dead. And that's what's going on with you now. You have it?
Yeah.
And finally, read Revelation chapter 1, verse 5, so you can conclude that. What?
Quote, and from the Christ, who is the faithful witness and the first begotten
That's
of
here.
the dead.
Hold it. That's here. On page 20, I'm also the faithful witness. See it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Faithful witness. And what? Read it again.
And from the Christ, who is the faithful witness and the first begotten of the dead, and the prince of the kings of the earth, unto him that loved us and washed us from our sins in his own blood.
And that is true. I have completed my commandment that I was given today to reveal to this planet who I am and who he is. Who he is and who I am. Whichever way you want to go, right to left or left to right. It's not going to change. I change not. And that's why the third volume of my book has come out. I'm not promoting my book, but we have it. If you like a copy, then let us know. I'm not promoting that. That's not the subject. The subject is, I have now revealed to this planet, as I was commanded to do so, who I am and who the only begotten Son is, and that the Christ is here. You believe it or not, it's up to you to believe it or reject it. You know one thing, though. Every word that comes out of my mouth comes to pass. Every prophecy has been written, handwritten, is being fulfilled and yet to be fulfilled. Now, as we close, do you believe or not? Read Revelation chapter 21 and verse 8 so they can see their fate. I'm not recruiting. I'm here to collect. Did it say collect? To bring back, bring forth? For all the non-believers, read Revelation chapter 21 and verse 8, and so we can go and let them do their Friday thing. Some probably get ready to go now to happy hour. Think they're going to have happiness for 1 hour. After work, happy hour. Buy one drink, get another one free. Invite your man or your woman to come with you.
And unbelieving.
The what?
But the fearful.
See, the fearful. Some want to come, but they're afraid to do so, wondering or thinking what others going to say if they do. Oh, you going to go to Mika? Yeah, you go ahead and let Mika talk you to that if you want to. Don't you know we can deliver ourselves? Don't you know New Jerusalem is coming down right here? Yahweh ben Yahweh says it's going to come right here in America. 1,500 square miles. Drop it right here in the United States. He said the United States could be New Jerusalem if you want it to be. I want to go, but I'm afraid of what they're going to say. If I, maybe I can sneak out and they won't know I'm gone. But I'm afraid. I'm fearful. So that's one. The fearful of what?
And unbelieving.
That's the second one? Look at that. First afraid, and then you don't believe. Well, I'm going to stay. I'm afraid to leave, so I'm going to stay. The unbelieving, the what?
And the abominable.
All those that do abominable acts right now. Man lay with man. Woman lay with woman. Abominable things. Eating, putting abominable things in your mouth. Worshiping abominable things. What else?
And murderers.
All those who murder. Thou shalt not kill. That's not even speak of murder. Murderers. And you can kill a person without physical. You don't think kill is just physical. You can kill someone's mind and stop them from wanting to do and come to God. Murders and what else?
And whoremongers.
Whoremongers, selling their bodies, doing whoremonger things with the bodies. And the children's children and children bodies. And what?
And sorcerers.
Looking and searching for other gods. Going from God to God, religion to religion. Looking for a church to church. I'm going to join that church next week. I don't like this church. That pastor crazy. What else?
And idolaters.
All those who worshiping idols more than you would your own God. Idol worshipers. And who else?
And all liars.
How many?
All liars.
All you have to do is lie. Just become a liar. And you become a part of what follows that.
Shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone.
Which is the what?
Which is the second death.
That's the second death. It's your choice. At the beginning, I said, this testimony and revelation is a matter of life or death. And that is a choice. It's up to you. With that said, I've completed what I had to say. There's nothing else to be said. I suggest that you look over this video, look at it again. It's recorded. Look at it again. Just go over it again. And this time, go over it with your Bible and not with your eyes, because you cannot see. You have eyes and see not. Ears you have and hear not. So you need to inherit that. Praise you. Tonight, in a few more hours, couple more hours, will be sundown. That would be the beginning of our Shabbat.
Yeah.
That would be Shabbat. So remember that. That's our true Shabbat.
True.
You can follow all those others if you like. They post on social media. Shabbat Shalom family. Sundown Wednesday, sundown Thursday. But go ahead. Feel free. Sundown Thursday, sundown Friday. Go ahead. Feel free. You better pray your flight be not in the winter or on the Sabbath day. Praise you.
Praise you.
Shalom to all of those who are obedient and believe.
Shalom.
Praise you.
Praise you.
That would be. And also on YouTube.